Topic here is causes for World War One from a European perspective with the focus on documents. So in class, we looked at this documentary, and this documentary clip addresses the rise to empire by Germany and the tension between Britain, France, and Germany. This slide here is just basically trying to get you to think about the President of the United States, and the President of the United States during World War One is Wilson. So when we look at the votes here, the argument is that the Republican Party splits, which leads to the Democrats gaining control of the White House. So what exactly does that mean? Here's Republicans, here's Democrats. There's 100 votes between all. So if Republicans have 60 and the votes look like this, 40 are going to vote Democrat. But because there's a split in the Republican Party between the Bull Moose Party and the traditional Republicans, votes are going to be split, which allows Woodrow Wilson to easily gain access to the White House as a result of the split. So I'm just trying to point that out so you know who the President of the United States is during World War One. In class, we address the Johnny Got His Gun presentation and the lyrics to the song, which talk about the individual that was in the war but lost both of his arms and both of his legs and is laid up in a bed, showing the brutality of World War One. Should already have an understanding of what I mean by the boxes and imperialism, as well as this slide, because they were addressed in a prior screencast. You also should know the long-term causes for World War One from a European perspective. So for today, we're going to be looking at a couple of documents. The documents are labeled here: Triple Alliance Assassination, something called the blank check. You are going to be in groups. Each student will get one of these readings, and then you're going to prepare a mini presentation to the rest of the people in your group. You do not have to answer these questions. However, you can use these questions to assist with your presentation. So let's take a look at some of the documents here. First one is going to be the Triple Alliance. So the significant part of the Triple Alliance, it's Germany, Austria, and Italy. Italy, remember, would later back out of the conflict, so then it means this is primarily between Germany and Austria. Anyway, it says, without provocation on her part, should be attacked. They're singling out France. They're saying that they're going to work with each other's politics, their economy, and their military, and they're going to share items together, and they're going to assist each other if there is a war with France. The important part here is Article 9, where they say that they're going to keep this a secret. Let's move on to the next one, which is the assassination of Ferdinand. The assassination of Ferdinand, this is just an article from the New York Times reporting, but they do use Sarajevo, which is right here, which is a reference to the place where Ferdinand was assassinated. The blank check. So in the blank check, this one is looking at the question of whether or not Germany is going to assist Austria and what Austria is going to do. So remember, Austria is trying to hold Serbia accountable for the assassination. So let's just say this shaded red represents the Black Hand organization that was responsible for the assassination. Austria really doesn't care. Austria is trying to argue that the acts of these individuals are actually the acts of everybody in Serbia. And so what's going on in this document, let's look at some of this section. He is not blind to the danger that threatens Austria. The danger that threatens Austria is the terrorist organization that is conducting terrorist attacks, like killing their future leader. And then they also say that there's a Russia and pan-Slavic agitation. So they believe that Russia and Serbia are somehow responsible in working against Austria. His Majesty will faithfully stand by Austria as is required by our obligations, alliance, and ancient friendship. So what's going on in the blank check? Germany is telling Austria, we support whatever it is you're going to do with regard to Serbia. And they're acknowledging that they have an obligation as a result of the Triple Alliance. What caused World War I? Long-term causes. You should have now their alliances. Notice some of these are in red because some of these documents address them. So we've already talked about the imperialism, Prince Sepp and his actions. We've looked at this political cartoon. Let's move on. Some more assassination photographs. We've already addressed these political cartoons, the declaration of wars, how they play out. Now let's take a look at some more documents here. So this is the Serbian response. So in this document here, remember, there's only a small portion of Serbia. I'm making this up. This map means nothing. It's not historically accurate, but we're pretending that this represents the people that are supportive of the terrorist organization. So this is going from Serbia to Austria. So there is a Austrian letter to Serbia saying these are the things that we want. We are looking at the one Serbia is sending back in response. So here it says that Serbia is willing to eliminate from the public instruction survey anything which further the propaganda. So they're saying we're going to police up our propaganda. So anybody in Serbia that's saying anything anti-Austrian, we're going to start policing propaganda. They're going to get rid of officers and people in the military. So in the Serbian military, if there's 3 people and every third person is a member of the terrorist organization or has Austrian-Hungarian negative feelings, they're going to get rid of these individuals. It also says that Serbia is going to start investigating to figure out what happened. So there's more to this document, but for the most part, Austria is being told by Serbia, this is what we're going to do to pretty much satisfy your concerns about whether or not Serbia is responsible. The problem here is Germany, and this is Germany's declaration of war on Russia. So when you read this document here, it says Germany have used every effort since the beginning of the crisis. So what the crisis is, the assassination. Germany is arguing they're trying to be peaceful with the solution to the crisis here. But then it goes on to say that Russia, without waiting for any result of what? The peaceful settlement. It proceeded to general mobilization of her forces. So what they're saying here is Ferdinand was assassinated. Here he is. And then Germany tried to resolve this by peace. It's supposed to be a peace symbol. Somebody's hand. Peace. But Russia started to send her forces in preparation of war. So because of that, Germany has declared war on Russia. They say here, Germany accepts the challenge and considers himself at war with Russia. This map is showing you the German and French with Belgium. So remember, there's a bunch of trenches here, so you can't go. So Germany wants to go through Belgium to attack France. That's the goal. Fighting trench warfare. And this is a note that's asking Belgium, Germany is sending to Belgium saying, hey, where do you stand on the war? And Germany is saying to Belgium that they're about to attack France, but they want to be able to go through Belgium. So this puts Belgium in a tough spot. If Germany is allowed to go through Belgium, then Belgium is going to have to go to war with France. If they don't, then according to the document, it says if Belgium opposes German troops, then Germany will be compelled to consider Belgium as an enemy, and then Germany will go to war with Belgium. So you want to think about whether or not Germany is the aggressor here, if they're putting Belgium in some sort of odd predicament. And again, this goes back to, this political cartoon that's ultimately going to drag the British in. Remember, Wilson is going to declare neutrality, and so we want to take a look at what Wilson is saying here. So the effect of the war depends on what Americans say and do. How do Americans feel about this conflict? Now, keep in mind that the United States has many people from many different nations and ethnic groups. So it is possible that Germans here, French are here, people from Britain are here, and all of them have a certain feeling about the war, but they are all living in America. Last time we want is a civil war playing out in America as a result of this assassination from Ferdinand. And so that's what's going on here. Wilson is saying that we are going to declare our neutrality. Then he goes on to say we are going to be impartial in thought as well as action, as well put a sentiment upon every transaction. So he's saying that, yes, Germany, Austria, and the Ottoman Empire are at war. So is Britain with Britain, France, and Russia. But since we're declaring neutrality, we can trade with both of these sides. That's where he's going with this particular piece. So what should the U.S. do? You want to think about these particular questions as we kind of proceed through these documents. And that's it.